It's Thursday night. That means the drivers of the NC811 Limited Series here on Turn 1 go racing, and excited to be with you all. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Fitz. Michigan tonight up and ready to go. These drivers, it has been a wild season so far for the NC811 Limited Series. We have not had a repeat winner whatsoever all season long, but could that change tonight? Well, we're going to find out here in just 65 laps or so. On the starting grid, Dustin Kogan putting it together, a strong qualifying run in that Toyota Tundra. He's going to come out with the pole. Joshua Barr is going to start on the outside of row number 1. There he is. He's going to come on in. Troy Haight, Steve Ritter, and Brian Wortman is going to round out the top 5. Another good qualifying effort for Brian Wortman. He is having a pretty solid season so far. Robert Barber is going to qualify 6th. He was fastest in practice here tonight and looking to turn that into a good position here. Richard Swavely is going to start 7th. Shannon Wood, Glenn Campbell, Joey Gentina rounding out the top 10. Then it's Scott Formosa, Joe Hudson, Vincent Short. Kevin Stone's going to start 14th back here. Stoney Benfield is going to start 15th. Alan Marshall, Doug Roth, Mark Schrader is going to start P18. Rick Kennedy Jr. and Jason White, your top 20. Johnny Barger, Cody DeForge, Brandon Garand is going to start 23rd. Then it's Casey Duncan in 24th, Mike Montesi 25th, Doug Sigmund 26th, Arima Caden 27th, Rod Millam 28th. And then it's James Smith, DeAndre Kane, Robert Chappell, that 87 truck, and Ron Holyfield rounding out your 32 truck field here as they get ready to go racing. Really excited to see. Michigan's one of my favorite racetracks here. It's a lot of fun to see these guys make some laps here. It's a very wide, expansive racetrack. They're going to have a lot of room to get a lot of racing in here tonight. And then they also have a little bit of a draft factor, especially along this long straightaway down the backstretch here at Michigan. These drivers are going to have these Craftsman trucks just wound up to the max and sitting it in here 2, 3, and 4 wide at times here at Michigan. So far, it's been 7 races, 7 different winners, and a whole lot of fun. But tonight, race number 8 in Michigan is gonna kick off. Kogan sees the green flag, and we're racing for the NC811 Limited Series. Rocking and rolling here. Kogan's going to lead them off into turn number 1. Troy Hayden on the bottom. They're already making it 3. Brian Workman down there on the very bottom. Fanning way out, coming out of 2. Meanwhile, Kogan out single file, about a truck length and a half or so over bar. Caution's out. Looking through the field. Oh, we've got Cody DeForge slow. It looked pretty chaotic back there, coming out of 2. Oh, DeForge makes contact with the wall. He's got another driver there with him. Not quite sure what that prompted there, but that's going to see the caution come out for the first time here tonight. Not even completing lap number 1 here at Michigan. While I've got you, we've got a wild week of a wild couple weeks of racing coming up here on turn 1. Next week we head to Dover, Delaware, the Monster Mile. These drivers are really going to have a good time with that track. High bank, high action, high speed. Dover, Delaware next Thursday night here for the NC811 Limited Series on turn 1. And then 2 weeks time we head to Chicagoland, another track very similar to Michigan, a little shorter but very similar themed, and we'll see these drivers cut loose there in the Chicagoland area. Again, all of this action live here on turn 1 every Thursday night beginning at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. We're glad to have you watch it and be on board. Some conversations already happening in the background about the second half of 2026 already. And, you know, it's hard to believe it's already March. Or almost the middle of March here at that rate. So it's going to be June, and this season's going to be over before we know it. We're very close to the halfway point here, and yeah, a lot of things in the pipe here with this NC811 Limited Series and the Sim 500 gang. Speaking of Sim 500, as they get ready to go back green here at Michigan. If you were interested to come racing with these guys, high caliber, high respect, and high level of talent across the board, they're racing 3 nights a week. Sim500.com for more information. Again, Sim500.com for more information. This limited series, they're a heck of a lot of fun. As you've been watching here over the last 10 weeks or so, they put on a great show. And what makes this group very unique is that the iRating cap involved here. So you hear me talking about the limited series. That's actually part of the title. They are limited to 3,000 iRating. You have more than that, you're not going to come run with this group. But that's what makes it really dynamic. And we have seen, like I said, 7 different race winners in 7 different races. It has been a wild season so far. We've seen a lot of fast drivers. We've seen a lot of drivers we've not talked a whole lot about up here running leading laps with this group. So again, you're interested, you've got under 3,000 iRating, head on over to head on over to sim500.com to get registered. Kogan on the pole, had that truck, had a great start, was able to get clear of the group pretty quick, right halfway between the start finish line and turn 1. Can he do that once again? We're going to find out here on the restart in just a moment. Joshua Barr, Troy Haight was deep the inside of Barr there at one point or another, but he actually fell back to 4th right before that caution came out. He has had a really successful last couple weeks, Mr. Haight has really turned some consistent laps and some these races into some consistent points. So really good to see there. Speaking of points, Robert Barber, he is sitting right now on top of the leaderboard in points. He is sitting 6th at the moment. He has led a bunch of laps here with this NC811 group and looking to continue that, but right behind him, only 5 points back, is Steve Ritter. And then, as I mentioned, Troy Hayes sitting 7 points back. And then it's a bit of a bigger gap, 22 back to Richard Swavely. So, between 3rd place and 6th place sits our top 3 in points. That just shows you how tight things are here with this limited group, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch. Kogan's going to pick the bottom. Barr's going to pick the high side. Barr's just there because Kogan's on the bottom. We saw how he broke out there pretty quick. I suspect we'll see that again. But keep an eye there on the inside line. We saw Brian Wortman really drive down to the bottom there, right to the yellow line, and make it 3 wide. Will he do that again? We're about to find out. Down into the restart zone. They get primed up and ready to go. The pace car down pit road. Kogan sees the green flag. We're back racing at Michigan. Not the best of restarts there. Barr is able to get to the outside. The inside's feeling that pressure. Ritter thought about poking the nose down there, not going to do it. Workman nearly down to the apron off into turn 1. They get it all figured out side by side off the corner. The first 15 cars or so. Free and clear, but Kogan's under attack on the outside and the inside. Here comes Ritter. Barr on the outside, they fanned out. Ritter took to the inside, and he is gone. Driving around the bottom. We'll have a new leader here, all the way down to the apron. Steve Ritter leads the lap. I was talking about that move that Brian Wortman pulled on that start of the race. Well, guess what? He is really driving the nose of that truck off into the bottom of the corner there. I don't know how long he's going to be able to do that before that tire wear becomes a factor and he can't catch it. But for now, Wortman is going to slot himself up into the P3 position. We saw that draft starting to play a factor. Barr was tied to the bumper of Ritter, but it's not going to be any match. The Brian Wortman machine is going to look underneath him. It's going to be a drag race to the start finish line. Man, I don't know if that could have got much closer there for P2. Meanwhile, Ritter is out front, free and clear, 4 truck links. As everybody dives it off in there, Ritter right again down to that yellow line, apexing that corner off and then driving off. This is where we're going to see a lot of these passes happen, a lot of that wall. When you come off of turn 2, really sneaks up on you. It gets a little tight right there. Obviously, you see these guys making it 2 or 3 wide through there. As we see Kogan come down, really getting tight on that right front of Troy Haight. But that turn 2 wall sneaks up on you quick, and that's where we'll see a lot of drivers get out of shape and lose the space and lose the ability to save the truck. Meanwhile, up front, Brian Wortman challenging for the lead for the first time here tonight. Right down to that second to bottom line. He's got Ritter out on the right rear. Can he get clear of him before exit? He can't. Ritter's going to have the run. He's going to have Josh Barr with him on the outside. And then here comes Shannon Wood in that white and red truck, that Chevrolet Silverado on the outside. Barr is chasing Ritter all the way down to the very bottom. On that right rear, Workman's right there. This is a 4-way battle for first place. What big runs these drivers are getting here tonight so far. Down that front stretch as Ritter arcs it off into the corner right down to the yellow line. Barr's going to keep it up high. He's going to have the RPM in the truck. He's going to have the line. He's got a great run. Josh Barr is going to get clear of Steve Ritter. What a powerhouse move there out of that 50 Toyota. He's going to take that lead spot away by a large margin. And he's not going to have any drama coming out of 3 and 4. He's out there free and clear. The draft isn't going to get caught up with him here before they to get to the start finish line. Shannon Wood's going to ride right into the tire tracks, and now all of a sudden new leader Josh Barr takes command here at Michigan. 3 wide back here for 4th. That's Scott Formosa working his way up front as well. Robert Barber, our point center, right there on the bottom underneath Formosa. Wortman has slid back just a little bit to the 5th place position. Ritter's back there in 6th. Now Kogan, our pole sitter, well, he's back there in 7th. And then Troy Hank, Glenn Campbell, and the 14. The boss man, Joey Chatina, looking right there in the middle of the track, running in that 5th place. Back up front, Barr's been able to hold this group off. Shannon Woods broken out right into the tire tracks with Barr. Formosa has got Wortman and Robert Barber working the rear view pretty stiff here as they're working lap number 12. But I was talking about runs, and you're starting to see, oh, we got a truck into the wall, and then Ritter goes down hard. That was Barber. He pancaked the right side of that truck. Hogan's going to take advantage. Ritter had to check up a little bit. I think he was afraid Barber was about to go around. But we talk about those runs as, oh, that got close with Formosa and Wortman. I saw that closing speed getting tight. But out front here is Shannon Woods going to lead a lap. Made that pass complete happen there out of turn number 4. We talked about these runs and how powerful they can be. And, man, you're seeing that here. Barr was out front, free and clear, and he led about 3 laps or so. Then all of a sudden, this 4-truck pack caught up with him. And now it's pretty much the Shannon Woods show. We'll see if they're able to run him back down. Barber, we saw him get into the wall coming out of turn number 2 there a lap and a half ago. He is now settled back in just here a little bit, sitting in that 5th place spot. Looking a little further back here, that is Joey Gentina. On the outside, that was Richard Swavely on the inside, trying to make a move there. Gentina's going to move up into that 8th place position. And all of a sudden now we start to get, we start to see getting close to lap 14 here, and everybody's going to settle down just a little bit. These tires, these Goodyears they've had on board here, they've got some green flag laps on them now, and now it's time to settle in because you don't have the same level of grip as you did before. You also don't have the same level of weight on the truck. That at times can really help you depending on how you're driving the truck, and we see Barr here underneath Wood for the lead. But this is a fixed setup league, so you've got to make these trucks work in the way you want to drive, but you've got to do it in a very small box, as Wood's going to have a big run on Barr here as they go off into 3 and 4. We'll see Barr probably go to the bottom. No, he won't, and that'll actually check the run up a little bit off of Wood. But you have a small box to work in. So weight and, when you take tires, obviously, but the weight really matters in terms of a loose or tight condition. So if the truck is tight to your driving style, you want to adjust accordingly. And you may have better speed long run. If the truck is loose, well, you want to pack as much fuel as you can in it anytime you've got an opportunity. Wood here on the inside of Bars. It's a drag race down the backstretch. Robert Barber's going to get up here and make it interesting. He's going to dive deep to the inside. Huge draft run out of Robert Barber. Right down to the bottom. Wood's going to try to follow him through. Not going to be able to go anywhere. That run's going to fizzle out just a little bit. And here comes Josh Barr back to the outside. It's a drag race down the front stretch. And Barber is going to lead him one here at Michigan. Side by side, Barber has to go down low. Barr's going to keep him pushed down there just a little bit. But Barber's going to be clear off of 2. He's going to shut the door. That's a good move by the 83 there. Otherwise, Josh Barr would have had some momentum and a little bit of a run there and would have quickly gotten to the outside. Barber's going to make him push him, but that's going to check up that outside line. And now Shannon Wood is going to use a little bit of a side draft in that 2 truck and stall out Joshua Barr. Meanwhile, Barber's going to lead another lap here tonight. Looking a little further back, side by side, that's Kogan and Steve Ritter. They've been battling quite a bit. It's starting to get a little rowdy back here once again. Jatina, you see him, that white hood back there, just behind that purple truck alongside there. He is looking to make it interesting. Meanwhile, back behind that is Richard Swavely, Glenn Campbell, Doug Roth back here. Troy Hayton has had a rough start to the race. He's fallen all the way back to 12. A lot of folks here coming and going, and then we pretty much got a second pack of drivers back here making it 3 wide. That's, man, that's a little tight. That's Montesi 3 wide middle right there, surrounded by Johnny Barker, Mark Schrader, and co. We talked about how busy or how calmed down things were, and then just as I say that, they get rowdy once again. You know, we've got an opportunity here really quick to ride on board. Let's do that with the 14 of Joey Jatina as he takes a lap or two here around Michigan. Well, we were on board to watch that happen as Glenn Campbell goes around, makes contact there right there in the middle of turn 3 and 4. I don't know if we could have planned that much better, but the 44 wish we wouldn't have mentioned it at all. Let's quickly go back and take a look here at the replay. Oh, they were leaning on each other and about nearly had it saved. And then the 43 coming in and had nowhere to go. And Campbell just locked it down, slid it down to the apron here. And that is going to bring the second caution out on working lap number 20 of 65 here at Michigan. This will bring everybody down pit road for the first pit stops of the night. Meanwhile, we're going to step aside for just a moment. You're watching Turn 1. First pit stops of the night complete here at Michigan as we're working caution number 2 for the NC811 Limited Series here on turn 1. Robert Barber, Scott Formosa, Joshua Barr, Shannon Wood, Dustin Kogan, your top 5. Barber had a great pit stop. He was obviously coming in down pit road, brought it down pit road in that first position, and was able to make it pay off. Scott Formosa picked up a couple spots there. He's going to start on the outside here of row number 1. New tires, new you is what these drivers are thinking as they get ready to go back green flag racing. Down to the restart zone. Barber gets them rolling. Green flag back out at Michigan. Barber out free and clear for Formosa. Shannon Wood, Joey Jatina, Josh Barr back here. This run will not last for long. We've seen this already a couple times. Barber out front, free and clear as they all work out of turn number 2 with no issues. And this group is going to catch up to his back bumper. Formosa is going to be the first one to get there. Actually, that truck looked like he got a little tight on mid-quarter there. Maybe didn't quite get the lift he needed. Wood is going to look to the inside. Working down into turn number 1 here. Again, these trucks up to speed. Single file. The top 5 stretched out more than they have been all night tonight. And Barber diving down to the inside, trying to break that draft off of the nose of Shannon Wood. Shannon's going to have a little bit of a push there off of Scott Formosa off into 3. He's going to make good headway here now. Barber cannot escape that draft. Wood's going to follow him all the way down. Now that gap has shrunk to half a truck length. Wood now just needs to play it right because he is in prime position. He's going to go about 2 lanes higher. Barber's going to go all the way down to the bottom. Back behind this group, that is Scott Formosa. Oh, Joey Gentina, that truck got sideways. Coming off of turn number 2, he was turned down. He had a lot of left-hand wheel into that truck, and when that loaded up off the corner, I think he thought he was going to let it stick a little bit and maybe take that spot for Formosa. Meanwhile, we saw more of that right side of that truck than we did the left there for a moment. That got a little sketchy. Looking back behind him, it's Steve Ritter. On the outside, coming to the rear bumper of the 14. We were running on board with Jatina right when we saw Glenn Campbell and a couple others make contact there to bring out caution number 2. And Joey Jatina just missing that by a single spot as he's worked himself up to that 4th place position. Looking back here a little bit further, this is Troy Haight is back in this mix. Johnny Barker, Josh Barr, they're all battling out. It's a 3-wide run in front of them, though. That's Ritter, Kogan, and Haight. I'm sorry, that's not Ritter, Kogan, and Swavely. This top 10, this is Michigan at its finest. Spread out racetrack, a lot of trucks kind of up and down the running order, but everybody can kind of run their own lane. And let's be honest, it's a little early still for a lot of these drivers to be making moves. There's no point in pressing the button. You just need to be near the front. We've seen some of these runs. We've seen how this could play out. As Wood gets tied to the bumper, nearly makes contact with Barber. Barber goes high. It's a drag race down the front stretch. Barber's going to lead it by about half a nose there, but Wood's going to be deep to the inside, and he's going to take that inside lane away from Barber, the one he's been taking, and he's actually going to stay up about a lane higher. We saw Kogan go right down there to the yellow line. Barber's going to be up there against the wall. Oh, Wood's going to move up, shut the door on the 83 truck. Barber's going to leverage that run he had off of 2. Scott Formosa was right in the tire track, so he's going to have a bit of a run here as well. And that's what I'm talking about with these runs. They have been powerful here tonight with this NC811 truck group. It's been a lot of fun to watch so far. Working here just past the 9 o'clock hour on the East Coast. Again, hello everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sean Fitz. Glad you're with us for another exciting NC811 Limited Series race on Turn 1. We were talking about it here just a little while ago. We head on over to Dover, Delaware, the Monster Mile. Here next Thursday night, you're not going to want to miss that. If you haven't already done so, like the stream on Facebook and YouTube. If you like, please get connected. Subscribe over on YouTube. Follow the page on Facebook. Show your support to Turn 1 and these NC811 Limited Series drivers. I show we've got a couple people in the chat tonight. We got the 87 fans out in force. They're out in mass watching here tonight as these drivers. It is still chaotic up here. Running a goodness from about 3rd to 7th. Side by side all bundled up here. Looking through the field, obviously. Been doing a lot of talking about this top 7, top 8, but this is where the racing is right now. And you're starting to see, again, these trucks start to fan out across the racetrack just a little bit, because that is where you see these drivers, these tires start to, the new is scrubbed off these Goodyears now, and they are having to settle in and hopefully try to conserve a little bit of tire. Let's talk about a tire run. These drivers came down pit road here on lap number 20, so almost exactly 10 laps ago. Some of the fast lap times of the night for a lot of these drivers is a 39.7, 39.8, 39.9. Last time by, our leader ran a 40.62, 40.50s in the mix, so already after 10 laps, almost half a second slower with these drivers. We got a truck up against the wall there, but I do believe that is a lap down machine. If we take a quick look, that is the 87 of Robert Chappell. He's having a little bit of a rough go of it here this evening. Meanwhile, we look a little further back, single filed out now for the top 3 is Richards, or top 5 is Swavely's going to look to the inside of Ritter. Our points leader, the 83 of Robert Barber, has got firm grip on this group right here as they're working lap number 32 here in Michigan. He would like to come away with a victory here, I suspect, to be our first repeat winner of the season. Oh, Wood makes hard contact with that turn 2 wall. Everybody has to scatter. So far, so good. Everybody keeps it clean. But I've mentioned a couple times that turn 2 wall here in Michigan will come out and bite you. And right there, Shaden Wood felt that in full force. He's finally arrested that descent through the field. And now it's 4 wide across the front stretch here. That could have been disastrous. Got really tight there off the corner, but everybody's able to keep it straight. Nobody riding up high there, and then Wood. Surprisingly, that truck doesn't seem like it's too worse for wear. That landing that right side against the wall slowed him down a little bit, but now he's working himself all the way back up here. He's trying to run down Joey Gentina to pick that 4th place spot back up. Up front, we've got a battle side by side for the lead. Here comes Josh Barr. He has been up here. He started 2nd tonight, running 2nd. He's been up and down the running order between here and about 7th or so. Now to the inside of Barber. He's going to get clear of him through the middle corner. Barber's going to have that truck a little bit tight. What a save out of Barber. That truck was in a 4-wheel slide up against the wall. He is going to lose some spots. Here comes Gentina. Swavely gets by. Wood gets by. And then it looks like it's going to be Johnny Barker's going to try to make the move. He is. In 1 lap there. That all started off the exit of turn number 1. Robert Barber's going to lose about 5 spots. Barr will lead another one here. Working around. Closing in here past the halfway point of tonight's event. for the Sim 500 Limited Series here on turn number 1, or turn 1. And it's been a good race so far. 2 cautions. One on lap 1, one on lap number 20. These drivers now, they have, goodness, they have about 16, 17 laps on these tires. I suspect we will see them have to go. They'll go all the way to about lap 50 or so before I think these guys would need some fuel. That would be about the end of that run. They're going to be crying for tires by that point anyway. It's going to be a shootout to the very end as Jatina is working himself up to P2. He gets around Swavely on the exit there. He's going to pick that spot up, and then here comes Johnny Barker. Right behind him, Barber. He's led the most laps here so far tonight. Had a strong piece with that 83 truck, and again, just had it in a full slide off of 2. Had a lot of wheel in it and got tight. The caution's going to come out. Looking for it. Looks like there's a slow truck there on the bottom. That's Vincent Short. Well, I think this is ideally timed for a lot of these drivers. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here. Oh, that'll do it. Oh, and then Haight gets contact there. And Short just spins it around here on the front stretch. That's coming off of turn 4. Third caution of the night out here in Michigan. It has been an exciting one so far up and down the running order. But currently, the driver starting on the outside pole, Josh Barker's got the lead. Joey Jatina, Richard Swavely, your top 3. They're going to come down pit road again here, I suspect, and take the last service of the night. This very well could put them very close on their window, actually. This will be interesting to see how this all plays out. We're going to step aside for just a moment. You're watching Turn 1. doing some research here during the break, and I think they're going to be really tight here on fuel. This last this race going back, green flag here, lap number 41. That'll make it to about 24 to go. I think that is going to really be tight on fuel. We'll see how this all shakes out. I think they may be a lap or two to the good here. We'll see what happens. This draft also may play a factor. Joey Jatina came off pit road, second place. Then it's Richard Swavely, Shannon Wood, Brandon Garand, Josh Barr is going to fall all the way back to fifth. We'll see this restart get kicked off here. Some new folks up front. Swavely and Jatina on the front row. The green flag is out. They're back racing here in Michigan. Jatina gets free and clear here on the restart. The 14 to the point. Swavely's going to fall about a lane lower here and work that inside corner, trying to pick the short way around the racetrack to pick up the spot. Oh, they're going to get tight back behind him. They're beating and banging back here. That is Shannon Wood, Josh Barr, Robert Barber. 3 wide. Barber sits it in the middle. What a powerhouse move there as Garand's going to slide back a spot. Robert Barber's going to move up to that third place position as we saw Swavely get by the 14. Now Barber going to drive here underneath Jatina, and all of a sudden the 83 truck rather has found some pace again. He's going to drive it off hard here off of turn number 2. Back to the point, the 83 goes here in Michigan. Scott Moses moved back up, Jatina. Then Shannon Wood, Casey is 4 wide back here, Doug Roth. Oh, they're going to make contact. That is going to bring the caution out. Doug Roth backwards down the front stretch. I saw that coming. It was getting sporty back there, 4 wide. Coming off the corner, and that's going to bring the caution out once again. Let's take a look here. Roth just moved up, and no, everybody was there still. That is going to be an unfortunate one. That'll bring the caution out here once again at Michigan. Robert Barber, man, what a run that was here over the last couple laps. Came forward here. Keep in mind, he made really hard contact with that outside wall about 10 laps ago, coming out of 2. And well, he tried to avoid making contact. Let's put it that way. He had that truck in a 4-wheel slide sideways, not the direction it's supposed to go. After the pit stops, got new fresh Goodyears on it, a little bit of fuel in the tank, and now he's back up to the point. Scott Formosa sitting P2, Richard Swavely P3, and then it's Josh Barr sitting 4th. Joey Jatina is sitting 5th. Shannon Wood, KC Duncan, having a good night here, Mr. Duncan. Oh, and we got some trucks hitting pit road. That's about a half and half split. That's Jatina, Shannon Wood, Garand down pit road, Benfield, Montesi, DeCane, and others. So maybe it was going to be a little tighter on fuel than we thought. So that's going to change some things up here a little bit. It may be about who can save what before it's all said and done. Under caution here once again in Michigan. We're going to step aside for just a moment. You're watching Turn 1. Pace car, the lights are off, and that means we're getting ready to go back green flag racing here in Michigan in just a lap or so. So Barber out front for Moza, Swavely, Duncan, Parker. Ron Millam's going to restart 7th. Not a bad night for Ron Millam. He's going to take advantage of some of those drivers coming down pit road. Speaking of, that group is led back here with the Shannon Wood gang. Looks like this was a splash and go for a lot of these drivers. Wood in pit box for about 5 seconds. Jatina about 5.5 or so. Rick Kennedy Jr. And the rest of these guys all coming down pit road. They will be good on fuel. Now the 83 needs to hope that he can do the same out front here. So we're going to go back green flag racing with about 19 to go. Keeping him tight here, the control truck there, and Robert Barber, as soon as he's into the restart zone, he can go, but if they get to the end of it, Formosa can start instead. We'll see if Barber can get it going. He's on the throttle, back green flag racing here in Michigan. Ooh, that outside line did not roll very well. I think Barr nearly got into the rear bumper there of Formosa. That got tight. Everybody's going to make it through the corner, at least relatively unscathed. Barber out front for Moza. He's got some pressure. Here comes Swavely, and then it's a 3-wide run. Barr's on the bottom. Josh Barr's going to make it sporty there. Swavely's going to bow out of that middle. Barr's going to move up to the door for Moza. He's going to have to check that truck up, stop the slide. Meanwhile, Barber out front by a pretty large margin, about a 4-truck gap out front here. Look at the rest of the way through the field. Everybody's mostly staggered out. Then there's this bigger group of drivers right here. That's Montesi. We haven't talked about him too much here tonight. Right behind Steve Ritter. That is for that 13th place position. Dustin Kogan, Glenn Campbell, Kevin Stone, Rick Kennedy Jr. is back here as well. Again, keep in mind, a lot of these drivers came down pit road already, led by Shannon Wood. Then it's Jatina Ritter's right to the inside there, the 14. Going to work that left side of Jatina. Take advantage of a little bit of a side draft. Jatina moves all the way out there to what the dirt guys would call the cushion. All the way out there to the edge of the wall. Gets that truck pointed straight, but Ritter's going to get around him. Going back up front here, Barber. Hanging out in that top spot. Having a good night here. Led the most laps so far here tonight. I'm not quite sure if anybody could really pass him for that opportunity. This point, the 83 rather, looking pretty sharp on the point. The pole sitter here, he's had a really strong season. We've also seen him have a couple hiccups along the way, but he's able to hang on to it here for just a couple more laps or so. He could be our first repeat winner of the 2026 Limited Series. We've not had an opportunity to do it since, I don't know, about 20 laps ago. So let's find a driver to ride on board with. You know what? Let's do it with Mike Montesi as he works his way around here in Michigan. Back up front, it's starting to get a little racy up here. Josh Barr is not going away. He is certainly right there alongside Formosa. Formosa, I think, just made wall contact with the front stretch wall. That was interesting. I think that truck may have gotten a little tight there, following in the tire tracks of the 83. All of a sudden, Brian Wortman's back up here in that 5th place spot, just lurking. That's the Brian Wortman lurk, as I'm going to call it now. Hanging out back up here. He's got some speed. He's just waiting to see how this all shakes out as Barr drives down to the inside. Not going to have anything. Immediately, now the 83, that truck's going to get tight. I had a feeling we were going to see this. That's Robert Barber. He has lost the nose of that truck. He's going to lose one spot. Josh Barr takes the lead. Johnny Barker is going to look to the inside. Scott Formosa tucked in behind him, nowhere to go. We saw the 83 drive through the field like they were standing still after the new after the new tire stops. But now I think we're starting to see those good years fail the 83. That nose of that truck looks tight. Having some trouble getting that truck to rotate right there. It drives up the racetrack. Formosa has nowhere to go, and meanwhile, Josh Barr is back out front as we're working lap number 55 here with 11 to go. You're not really missing too much anywhere else around the racetrack, mostly single file out, so we'll stay close here to this top 5, top 10 situation as Barker looks underneath Formosa. Off into turn 3, Ritter's right here. Wortman's falling back to 6th. Glenn Campbell, we've seen that truck around backwards on the racetrack at any time. You see that, or you see that truck having some problems, a little slow off into the grass. It's usually a bad night for these Craftsman truck drivers. But he's already worked himself up back to that 9th place position. What a recovery here for the 44. You know, one thing I'm surprised about is Joey Gentina. He seems to be just in complete cruise control back there in that 16th place position. He came down pit road for that splash of fuel. Maybe got some damage working through some traffic along the way. Josh Barr, though, he's out front. Free and clear here as he's going to come across the stripe. He's going to get the 9 to go from the flag man. Single digits. It's go time for the NC811 Limited Series drivers. Brian Wortman underneath Steve Ritter here off of turn 1. Telling you, this has been an impressive season for Brian Wortman. Over the last really many weeks, he has put together some runs, some strong qualifying effort. Wortman's got that Chevy Silverado figured out, tied against Ritter as they roll through 3. You know, I don't know if a camera would do that much justice, but that looked tight. Oh, excuse me. Back up front, Barr in firm control here. Robert Barber sitting P2. Scott Formosa sitting 3rd. Between Formosa and Johnny Baker, they cannot get away from one another. Barker continues to claw away at that inside line. Meanwhile, Joshua Barr started on the outside of row 1 here tonight. Has had a lot of speed, has led a lot of laps. And I can't help but wonder just how much he was biding his time for all this to come to fruition. The only thing he has to worry about is 5 laps of fuel. He came down pit road, lap number 38, along with everybody else who took those tires. Did he save enough? Is he good on the fuel number? The Barber is in that same situation. So is Formosa and Johnny Barker. as they're still pretty racy back here. Formosa sitting in that third place position. Barker for Steve Ritter, Mike Montesi, Glenn Campbell, Brian Wortman. Campbell's driven all the way back up to 7th. What a recovery there for the 44. Next week, we head to Dover. This track doesn't do a whole lot in comparison for you, but what it will get you prepped up for is Barber got a decent run there off the corner, now starting to run down Josh Barr. Maybe looking for an opportunity here. One more stab at it. Barber drives it in deep. He's going to slam it off the wall. That was tight there for the 83. But what this racetrack does get you amped up for is Chicagoland. A very similar racetrack, a little more narrow down the backstretch, but for the most part, you can run 3 different lanes and be successful. They're going to head there in 2 weeks' time, but they've got to get through Miles. The Monster Mile over at Delaware next Thursday night. He's going to see 4 to go this time. Josh Barr looking to close the door here and make it 8 for 8 in winners. But Barber not going to let it go. Down to the bottom. Barr had that truck wrapped hard. Barber makes contact. He goes wide. Barr had that truck up against the wall. Out of shape. Barber moves up, makes contact. Is able to save it. He's going to move up and try to shut the door. He's going to do it. This is going to bring the rest of these trucks up here into fruition. Barber's just got to hang on. If you're the 50 truck here, all you got to do is just settle in. Hit your marks, use the draft. Don't worry about what's in the rear view. You've got the grip. You've proven that as he drives right up alongside the 83. Barber's been getting tight right here about the middle part of the corner. This time he's going to roll that corner a little more evenly. Oh, Barr's going to do the thing, though. He got tight as they come back to the stripe. 2 to go. All of a sudden, Steve Ritter has moved up into the top 3. This is where Barr slipped up the lap or 2 laps ago. Perfect corner exit. He's got to work the draft. Ritter, in the meanwhile, is getting caught up to the 83. No pressure for Barr. Ritter right down to the bottom. He's going to look to get underneath the 83. That's going to stall that run out. Barber's going to move down to block the Ritter for 3rd. The white flag is out one more time around here in Michigan. Barr down to the bottom. Needs to have perfect execution here off the corner. Barber is not going to have the speed and nowhere to go with it. Barr's going to check him up. Right into the tire tracks. The 83 down to the bottom. Barr's going to block. We got him wrecking behind him. Off of turn 4. Ritter's going to get the 83. He's going to be side by side for the lead. But it's going to be Joshua Barr. Winner number 8 of the season. What a race and what a run out of Steve Ritter. Incredible hustle there the last lap and a half. And he's going to take 2nd place away from Robert Barber. Barber's going to save that spot for 3rd, save that run, and pick up a 3rd place finish. It's Johnny Barker, Mike Montesi, Ron Millam, Kevin Stone, Brian Wortman, KC Duncan, Stoney Benfield, your top 10. What a wild night here in Michigan. We're going to step aside here for just a moment. Then we'll talk to race winner Josh Barr and a couple others here on Turn 1. We'll be right back. Our race winner's gonna burn it down here in victory lane. Meanwhile, we will take a moment here and talk to Robert Barber, the driver of the 83, and our points leader coming into the night. Robert, congratulations on the top 3 there. That truck looked sporty all night. It looked like you had a lot of grip out there. Walk me through your evening, and then obviously the last 10 laps here probably felt like eternity for you.
It was fun. I'll say that. Probably the most fun I've had in Michigan in a long time. I don't know about grip, though, because I was sideways every which way I could be.
Yeah, we certainly saw you at one point. It looked like you were in a four-wheel slide off of 2 right there before. I believe that was that last caution or so. How much were you able to save tire here at all? Was that any part? These runs look monstrous here tonight.
Honestly, I thought I was saving tire, and when that caution come out, when I took my tires then, I thought, okay, well, if we go green, I'm sitting pretty good because those people that stayed out. And then the caution come out 2 laps later, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm still good. And I don't know where Josh Barr got his grip from, but he ran us down and left us sitting, but was able to run him back down. So, I mean, I think at that point I was saving a little bit. The tires held up good until you got around. Once you got up behind the truck, it just got really loose, and you just had to hold on.
Well, able to hang on here for a really solid finish after what could have been a couple moments of terror, I'm sure, that 83 truck. Congratulations on the top 3 here. I think it's going to keep you right in line there with the point standings. I think you're going to keep that lead. It's going to be close. Obviously, we head to Dover next week, and then Chicago. Chicago fitting a very similar driving style here as Michigan. What are your thoughts there as we look ahead the next 2 weeks?
Dover, I like. It's not my best track, but I like driving it. And what would you say the next track was?
We are going to Dover and then Chicago in 2 weeks.
Oh, love Chicago. Really looking forward to that. It reminds me a lot of Vegas, and of course that's where we got our win earlier this year. It's just been a great start to the season. Got to thank Joey and Sim 500 and NC811.org for putting on this series. It's really fun. I'm just having a blast, and thanks you guys for the broadcast. It's just really fun to go back and watch the races, and you guys do a great job.
Well, we appreciate that, Robert. Congratulations. Another great finish here in the books tonight at Michigan. We'll see you next week at Dover.
Thank you.
And with that, we will talk to our race winner, Joshua Barr. Joshua, congratulations. What a run here tonight. Started on the outside pole, looking pretty sharp in that truck, and then up and down the running order a bit. Walk me through your night.
In practice, I wasn't as quick as them, and then when I got outside pole, I think if I would have ran the very bottom lane, I think I could have snagged the pole because we were really close on time. But it was racy. It was fun. I actually had a blast.
It looked like the runs tonight here were really, really something to contend with. Not only obviously the truck being chased, but having the opportunity to chase others. I was talking to Robert, and tire savings and whatnot, all that could look like with these runs that you had here tonight. It didn't really seem like that was much possible, but somehow it seemed like you ran down that group with intensity there with the last 10 to 15 to go.
As long as you timed it properly, you could there was a lot of times where I saw guys, they dive it to the bottom, you make the pass, but then you don't have that speed, and we're all running the top lane, and you just truck right on by. It was definitely came down to timing it right, and when there was only a few of us, I was racing in that pack, I just followed the guy in front of me, because there's no point in sending it to the bottom, burn your tires up when you're not going to go nowhere. So when we got thinned out, you could pick them off one by one. And then going from third, I almost got him off of 2, and then I fell in line, followed him around, and let my tires cool down a little bit, and then sent it in there again.
We saw you have a moment there, speaking of 2, come off the corner. You could tell you were up a little higher than maybe you were expecting to be. The truck kind of shook a little bit on exit and was into the wall there just a smidge, it looked like. Were you worried at any point that it was over right there, or did you know that you were going to have enough right side and left to finish it out?
I thought I was wrecked. I was like, oh no, I done messed up. But I think might have been some of the air off the front of his truck.
Yeah,
got to the back, because if you could get right behind him, there was earlier point in the race, like lap 20 maybe, something like that. I got a little loose, and he got up behind me, and then I got even more loose. But no, I think I kissed the wall just right, and then he kissed me.
Yep.
Which caused both of us to slow down just enough to where nobody left. Like, if he hadn't hit me, he'd have been gone, and I would have had to run him back down.
It looked like, from the broadcast perspective, you come off the corner there, and almost like the truck, dirt track, it jumped the cushion just enough to bump you over there. That's what it looked like. So I even was like, oh, here it comes. Saw you two make contact, and it was really good to see you both kind of figure it out going down the backstretch. We obviously we head to Dover next week. Will we see you there? And what do you think you got for these guys at the Monster Mile?
Pretty good at Monster Mile in the Cup car. Haven't really ran the truck there before, so it'll be as long as I get off work in time. I plan on showing up.
All right, good sir. Well, listen, congratulations, winner number 8 of the season, and bringing it home here in Michigan. Anybody you want to thank?
Shout out to you for broadcasting. It's always cool to race for different people. Joey for inviting me into the league. I think their title sponsor is NC811, called Spray Dig. Shout out to my pops. He's at his house watching. I'm sure mom was like, calm down in there when he was beating on the wall or something when I crossed the finish line there. And shout out to the wife and kids for letting me race tonight. Joshua
Barr, rather. There's a bunch of Barkers and everything else in this group. Joshua Barr, bring it home, the checker flag here in Michigan. Joshua, thanks for the time. We hope to get to talk to you again soon.
All right, appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
And with that, we will quickly grab Steve Ritter. And Steve, I got to tell you, I don't know what you did in those last 5 laps, but that truck looked like it was on rails. Another lap, and it looked like Barr was going to be in trouble. What did you find in that machine there in the last few laps?
It was really good at the end there, yeah. I just wrapping the bottom. I started lifting a little bit more, and these trucks you can go flat out for the first few laps. So I just found rolling in on the entry a little bit, and then they can getting on the gas, and those guys were pushing up, and I was just able to drive underneath them.
We saw tonight the runs be huge. I talked to everybody so far about that, and just how if you timed it right, you just freight train guys, and we saw that up and down the running order, especially in the top 15. Is that what you expected coming into tonight, and did you feel like you could defend against it? That seemed like that was the hard thing to do, is be able to maybe stop the runs around you.
Yeah, in the very beginning there, I jumped out to the lead, and I was trying to kind of do the Daytona thing and control both lines, and that went miserably bad. And I think I dropped back to like 10th or 11th at that point. But that top side seemed quicker, and then the bottom seemed to come in after about 10 to 15 laps on the tires. So you kind of had to know where to run, and then if you were in the wrong line, you were in trouble, just like you are at any super speedway track. So.
I was going to say that. It looked like, to your point, when you lost that momentum trying to block both sides and just went backwards in a hurry, it didn't seem like you were able to really arrest that descent through the field, and you were just kind of at the mercy of everybody around you. Is that what it felt like in the truck?
Yeah, definitely. It was, you're just looking for a hole up top at that point. You're going in the corner a little bit higher every time, trying to push them up a little bit, and just trying to look for that gap on the top to fall back in line, because you're going to lose so many spots. There's not at least one guy down there with you. So.
Well, we've seen that 61 Ford F-150 up front quite a bit this season, and leading laps and really out there putting down some performance. Next week we head to Dover, and then we go to Chicago. Anything you've got for these guys here as you look ahead at Dover and the Monster Mile and what that could turn into?
I'm actually, Dover's one of my favorites, so I'm looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to Chicago.
those are two tracks I really like. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, we absolutely will. Steve Ritter making some miracles happen in the last 10 laps here at Michigan, really the last 5. Bringing home P2. Steve, thanks for the time.
Thanks, man. Have a good night.
And with that, we'll wrap up race coverage here on Turn 1. It's been a good one. All season long, 8 wins. Or, I'm sorry, 8 races, 8 winners. This NC811 Limited Series, man, I tell you, it is incredible to watch. And next week, we will try to go 9 for 9. On behalf of the league admins, I'm Sean Fitz. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next Thursday night for more racing action right here on Turn 1. Good night, everybody.